Picture yourself on IELTS test day, calm, confident, and in control. You've prepared strategically, and you know exactly what to do in each section. Every question feels familiar because you've trained for them all. You know how to start, how to organize your ideas, and how to showcase your English skills from beginning to end. When you leave the test center, you don't feel anxious. You feel proud. You know you performed at your best, and that confidence didn't come from luck or endless guessing. It came from following a clear system that guided you every step of the way. We've helped thousands of students prepare this way through our online courses. They discover how strategic preparation can completely change their results. In this video, you'll discover what truly separates Band 6 students from Band 7, 8, and 9 students. You'll learn exactly what successful test takers do differently in all 4 sections of the IELTS General Training test: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And I'll show you how you can start applying those techniques immediately. If you're ready to study smarter, stay tuned. By the end of this lesson, you'll know exactly how to prepare with focus, strategy, and total confidence. Many IELTS General Training candidates study hard but struggle to break through to Band 7. The truth is that achieving Band 7 or higher isn't about studying more. It's about studying differently. High-scoring candidates approach each section of the test with specific strategies that help them demonstrate their English skills effectively. Let's start with the IELTS speaking test. Band 7 plus candidates approach all 3 parts of the speaking test with confidence and strategy. Speaking part 1 involves questions about familiar topics like your home, family, work, or hobbies. Low-scoring candidates often give one-word answers, but high-scoring candidates never do this. For example, if the IELTS speaking examiner asks, "Do you enjoy cooking?" don't simply say yes. Instead, provide a complete response. Yes, I am really fond of cooking because it allows me to be creative and try different recipes from around the world. Further, make sure you elaborate naturally by adding reasons, examples, or personal experiences to your answers. This development shows the examiner you can speak at length without struggling for words. Speaking part 2 gives you a topic card and 1 minute to prepare a 2-minute talk. Here, Band 7 plus students use templates strategically. Templates include advanced vocabulary, grammar, and structures that help you organize your ideas clearly and coherently. For example, if the topic card asks you to describe a person who influenced you, you might begin your answer with this template sentence starter. "I'd like to tell you about someone who holds particular significance for me." Then set the context by explaining when you met them. Describe what made them memorable, discuss the emotional impact they had on you, and conclude with a reflection on what you learned from them. This way, you make sure that you include advanced vocabulary and use the present, past, and future tenses, which shows the IELTS speaking examiner that your English is advanced. The best thing about templates is that you don't have to think about how to start your answer. You can simply start speaking. You say the sentence starter, and then you simply finish the sentence with your ideas. If you'd like to speak with the same confidence as high-scoring students, check out our IELTS General packages. You'll find all the templates and strategies you need to speak fluently and naturally. The link is just below this video. Next, you shouldn't rush through your answer. Maintain eye contact with the examiner. Use natural pauses to organize your thoughts and speak at a comfortable pace. If you make a mistake, correct yourself smoothly without apologizing excessively. Native speakers make mistakes too, and self-correction actually demonstrates good language awareness. Speaking part 3 involves discussion questions related to the part 2 topic, but is more abstract and analytical. Here, successful candidates show that they can express their critical thinking well in English. For instance, the IELTS speaking examiner might ask, how has technology changed the way people communicate? Rather than giving a simple yes or no answer, high-scoring test takers present different perspectives. They might say, well, from one perspective, technology has made communication more convenient because we can instantly message people anywhere in the world. However, some argue that it has reduced the quality of our interactions because we spend less time having face-to-face conversations. This ability to discuss ideas from multiple angles shows the examiner you can handle complex topics and think critically in English, which is essential for Band 7 and above. If you're aiming for higher bands, you also need to use a wide range of vocabulary and avoid repetition. If you have said important once, use significant, crucial, or essential in subsequent responses. This variety demonstrates the lexical resource that examiners reward with higher scores. Another key factor is pronunciation. Band 7 plus candidates speak clearly and can be understood easily. Everyone has an accent. That's perfectly natural. What matters is that your pronunciation doesn't create confusion. You do need to articulate words clearly and use appropriate stress and intonation. Let's continue with the writing test. Writing is often the most challenging section for IELTS General candidates. Candidates that achieve Band 7 or higher approach both tasks with clear strategies that demonstrate their English proficiency effectively. For writing task 1, which requires you to write a letter, you must understand the importance of tone. Whether the letter needs to be formal, semi-formal, or informal depends on the situation and recipient. If you're writing to your manager or a government official, you must use formal language with phrases like, I am writing to request, and I would appreciate your prompt attention. If you're writing to a friend or family member, you can use more casual language. To get Band 7 or above in writing task 1, you also need to follow a clear structure for your letters. Begin with an appropriate greeting. Clearly state the purpose of the letter in the opening paragraph. Develop your main points in the body paragraphs and end with a polite closing and sign-off. This organization makes your writing easy to follow and demonstrates good coherence. Another critical factor is addressing all 3 bullet points in the question. The task will give you 3 things to include in your letter, and high-scoring test takers ensure they cover each point thoroughly. If you miss one bullet point or only mention it briefly, your task achievement score will suffer significantly. Now, let's move on to writing task 2. Here, you need to write an essay. Successful candidates use templates that provide advanced sentence starters and a clear framework for organizing their ideas. For example, if you have to write an agree-disagree essay, you can begin your introduction with this sentence starter. While I agree that, I hold that. When talking about your first reason, you could write, the primary reason for is, and so on. If you'd like to use the same writing templates that help IELTS General candidates write naturally and fluently, click the link below to check out our IELTS General packages. Vocabulary range is another crucial factor. If you want to score Band 7 or higher, you should avoid repeating the same words from the question. For example, if the question uses the word problems, vary your language with challenges, issues, or difficulties. This paraphrasing demonstrates lexical resource. This is one of the 4 scoring criteria the IELTS examiners use to mark your answer. Grammar complexity also matters. Those aiming for Band 7 and above use a variety of sentence structures, including complex sentences with relative clauses, conditional sentences, and passive voice where appropriate. They don't make every sentence complex. That would sound unnatural, but they demonstrate range by mixing simple, compound, and complex structures throughout their essay. Finally, to achieve Band 7 or above, you must proofread your work. In the final 5 minutes, check for common errors: subject-verb agreement, article usage, plural forms, and spelling mistakes. Frequent grammatical errors can lower your score even if your ideas are excellent. The IELTS General Reading Test contains 3 sections that increase in difficulty. High-scoring candidates approach the reading test strategically. They use time management and specific techniques to maximize their score. The first strategy successful test takers use is to read the questions first and then scan for the relevant information in the passage. This saves them a lot of time and ensures that they have enough time to answer all questions. Identifying key words in the questions and searching for them in the passage is an essential reading strategy. For example, take a look at this question. What problem did the company face in 2020? Band 7 plus candidates focus on the year 2020 because it cannot be changed, so they know they'll find it exactly like that in the passage. Then they scan the passage looking for this year. They also know that the words problem and company might be paraphrased. They might find challenge, issue, or difficulty instead of problem, and organization or business instead of company. Additionally, to achieve Band 7 or above, you need to understand different question types and adapt your approach accordingly. For true, false, not given questions, you must find evidence in the text that either confirms the statement, contradicts it, or provides no information about it. Never rely on general knowledge, only on what the passage explicitly states. For matching headings questions, high-scoring candidates read the first and last sentences of each paragraph to identify the main idea quickly. They know that supporting details in the middle of paragraphs can be distracting, so they focus on topic sentences and concluding sentences to find the paragraph's central theme. Another point that distinguishes Band 7 plus candidates from lower scoring candidates is time management. You have exactly 60 minutes to answer 40 questions, which means roughly 1.5 minutes per question. Students that score highly divide their time strategically. They spend more time on sections 2 and 3 than on section 1, because sections 2 and 3 are harder. Further, you should never spend too long on one question. If you can't find the answer within 2 minutes, make an educated guess, mark the question, and move forward. Getting stuck on one difficult question can prevent you from answering easier questions later in the test. Furthermore, pay attention to word limits. If the instruction says, write no more than 2 words, and you write 3 words, your answer is wrong even if the information is correct. Students aiming for Band 7 and above carefully follow these instructions and count words before writing their final answers. By the way, if you want this channel to keep going, write yes in the comments, click like and subscribe. We only make videos that you actually want to watch. Now comes the listening section, which tests your ability to understand spoken English in everyday situations. High performers approach this section with preparation and focus that sets them apart from lower scoring candidates. The first thing you need to do to achieve Band 7 or higher is read the questions carefully before the recording begins. Every time you hear, you will have some time to look at the questions. Use those precious seconds strategically. Scan the questions, identify key words, and predict what type of information you need to listen for. This preparation means you know exactly what you need to listen for when the recording starts. Another essential strategy is understanding question patterns. Band 7 plus candidates know that in parts 1 and 2, they'll encounter form completion, note completion, or table completion questions. They recognize that these questions follow the order of the recording, which means the answer to question 1 comes before the answer to question 2. This understanding helps them stay focused and organized throughout the test. To score a band 7 or higher, you also need to master the art of listening for synonyms and paraphrasing. The IELTS test rarely uses the exact words from the question in the recording. For example, if the question mentions transport, you might hear getting around or travel options. Furthermore, you need to know how to manage distractions in the recording. Sometimes you'll hear wrong information mentioned first, followed by a correction. The speaker might say, "The meeting is on Tuesday." Actually, no, sorry, it's Wednesday. Lower scoring students often write down the first thing they hear, but high performers stay alert for corrections and changes throughout the recording. Another critical skill is spelling accuracy. In the listening test, spelling mistakes cost you marks. If you want to reach band 7 or higher, you must double-check your spelling, particularly for common words like accommodation, necessary, and environment. You also need to pay attention to singular and plural forms. If the answer needs to be plural, but you write the singular form, you lose the mark. As you can see, achieving band 7 or higher on the IELTS General Training test isn't about natural talent. It's about preparation, strategy, and practice. High-scoring candidates approach each section with specific techniques. They predict answers in listening, skim effectively in reading, use templates wisely in writing and speaking, and demonstrate vocabulary range throughout. The good news is that these strategies can be learned and practiced. You don't need to be perfect, you need to be prepared. When you understand what the IELTS examiners look for and how to showcase your English skills effectively, your confidence grows and your performance improves. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you're notified when the next video comes out. And if you want to prepare with a clear, proven system, check out our IELTS packages below. They'll help you study smarter and save valuable time. See you in the next video!